My name is Huston Singletary. I work for Ableton as a clinician, a trainer, also do sound design. And I want to welcome you to the Ableton Live Clinic. Hi everybody, welcome to the Ableton Live Clinic. I'm Huston Singletary. Today we're going to be going over Vocoder. We're going to show you some tips and tricks, talk about how to get our voice in there and to work with that vocal effect that a lot of people have been asking about, that's heard on countless records these days. And we got a letter to the live clinic at ableton.com from a T.N. Gregory of San Jose, California. He says, "Hello Houston, I'd love to see and hear the new vocoder in action in Live 8 from setup to signal out. Vocoder and talkbox effects are crazy popular on YouTube, and given the comments that people leave on them, vocoding is grossly misunderstood by most." Well, thanks, Tien. We are going to jump right on that. So for the course of these tutorials, and there's going to be two of them, part 1 and part 2, and we're going to take vocoder, we're going to deconstruct it, we're going to talk about how to set it up and get that sound that you're looking for. So let's dive in right now with vocoder in Live 8. Ableton Vocoder. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is set up a live set with the tracks that we're going to need to utilize the vocoder and achieve that effect and sound that we want to get with it. So we need an audio track, which I have set up, and a MIDI track. And we've also got a couple of scenes set up just so we can record those later if we want. So with this first audio track, we want to go ahead and place the vocoder in it. So let's go over here to our browser, open it up, and I'm going to go to my device browser. See, I've got my instruments, my MIDI effects, my audio effects. Well, the vocoder is an audio effect, so it's in this folder. So I'll open it up and I'll scroll down, and there it is. So let's go ahead and click and hold and drag that right over track 1. It's going to load it into the device view down below, and there we have it. Now let's talk about the vocoder for just a second and talk about how we get sound in, how we get sound out before we move any further, because this is an area that generally gets a little misconstrued, maybe misconceptions here and there. So let's talk about this for a second. In general, the vocoder is going to load up just like this. If you go to this chooser window here to the left, you're going to see that we've got a couple of choices here. We've got our noise, our external, modulator, and pitch tracking. Each one of these function completely different from each other. The noise works basically as a filter, if you will. So if I were to go to my live browser, go grab a sound. In this case, we'll take a basic drum loop here. Now, this is the sound you're going to hear right off the bat when you load vocoder. It may not be exactly what you're looking for, because a lot of times we're looking for that singing synthesizer, that vocal Daft Punk kind of effect right off the bat. Well, you're not going to get that just by loading vocoder in. We've got to set it up a particular way. So let's go back over to our chooser window. We'll leave noise and we'll go to external. And this is what's going to allow us to feed in a carrier source from our MIDI track in just a second into the vocoder's chooser window, into the sidechain input. So now the external chooser window sets up a sidechain input inside vocoder, which is great. So I want to take the audio from the carrier signal from an adjacent track. In this case, it'll be this MIDI track, where you're not going to see anything just yet in this chooser window in our sidechain input until we load a MIDI instrument on this MIDI track. So I'm going to open up an instrument that I think works really, really well as our carrier source of MIDI going into the vocoder's input. Let's go over to Instruments in our device browser, and I'm going to go to Operator, Classic FM Synth, part of Suite 8, and I'm going to go down to Synth Brass, and there it is, Brass Brzezinski. I'm going to load that into our MIDI track. Go ahead and play it for a second. As you can see, it's that classic sort of straight ahead brassy synth sound. Very, very rich, lots of sustain, but above all, most importantly, that really quick attack. We're going to feed the audio from Brass Brzezinski, this operator instrument, from track 2 into the vocoder. How do we achieve that? Let's go back over to vocoder on track 1. Go to the sidechain input, audio from Brass Brzezinski. Now when I play, but it's still not really doing anything. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and use this loop we used originally as our modulator source on track 1 in the vocoder. Now you notice nothing's playing. This is where the confusion starts to open up just a little bit, and that's why we're going over these tips and tricks on getting things started. Nothing is going to play audio-wise, as far as hearing anything, until we send a carrier signal from operator, the brass Brzezinski track. So we're going to go back over to vocoder. We got signal coming in from the modulated source on this particular drum loop. Okay, I'll hit Shift Tab to go back over to the vocoder. But watch what happens when I play a chord on MIDI track number 2 from the brass track. So right off the bat, you can sort of hear some vocoding action happening there, maybe some singing synthesizer audio there. But let's do this. Let's take brass Brzezinski right out of the mix. I'll just mute it, but still have record enable set up so I can hear it. Now we'll play. So I'm playing the different chords on MIDI track 2 and feeding that into the sidechain input right here, thus affecting that modulated source of that drum loop. So I can hold down a chord, change the band's characteristics, increase the bands, shorten that release up a little bit, change our frequency range. All the while I'm just holding down just a basic C chord on the brass track. Okay, now what about that classic vocal sound? What if I want to input my voice and have it affected with a vocoder? Let's do this. We'll take out the clip of audio, but watch what happens when I go to I/O settings, select my input, which is my voice. See the input, testing, 1, 2. I'm going to go ahead and arm the track, testing, 1, 2, and now you can see my signal in the VU meter on audio track 1 as well as in the vocoder, just like before when we had that drum clip playing, that audio clip. So I'm going to put this on kind of middle of the road here. I'm going to use 20 bands, draw a nice little sweep here, get some nice mid-range sort of action here. Going to go ahead and leave my filter range pretty much by default where it is. Now I'm going to go over and I'm going to select brass Brzezinski, unmute it. So there we go. We've got the signal going. So I'm going to mute it one more time so it doesn't play. But now watch what happens. It's not affecting that vocoder in any means whatsoever. That's because I don't have the track record enabled or the monitor input select on. So let's take it a step further. Let's select our input chooser in our I/O section. Now watch what happens when I use my voice, when I speak, and play notes at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I can keep my voice the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, and change notes and change the key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chords. 1, 2, 3. Change the tone and pitch of my voice, but you notice it won't change because I'm playing the basic C chord. But if I change the C chord to a D while I'm talking, my voice can change and move wherever it wants, but the chord will be exact because I'm feeding that carrier signal in as MIDI. So everything is very, very exact.